Hey Pop Kids, my name is Micah and I'm the Student Ministries Director, and this month we are talking about integrity and why it's so important for us to live each day in a truthful way. And so I'm here today to tell you about someone that we can read about in the Bible who didn't necessarily live with integrity, and his name was Gehazi. Now this story comes from the book of 2 Kings, which is in the Old Testament, which is the first half of the Bible. And in this book, we can read about what happened to God's people while they were ruled by kings. That's why it's called Kings. Now, there was a man named Naaman who was a commander of the armies of Syria. Now, Naaman was super sick with this awful skin disease, right? It was very painful. He was super itchy. He was not having a good time, and he was really desperate for just any sort of relief. And so a servant girl came from Israel and told Naaman that there was a prophet of God named Elisha, and he might be able to help him. And so Naaman traveled to Israel and he was looking for Elisha. And Naaman eventually found Elisha's house, but Elisha didn't come out to meet him. Instead, Elisha sent a messenger out who said this to Naaman: "Go and wash yourself in the Jordan River 7 times, and then your skin will be healed and you will be pure and clean again." Now, Naaman wasn't exactly thrilled to hear this, right? I mean, it doesn't really sound like he's going to do anything because, this plan, he's probably had a shower before. He's probably washed himself. So how is this going to help his disease? How's it going to work? And he was also a little bit annoyed that he didn't even get to hear it directly from Elisha. He just got it from some servant of his. But Naaman's servants convinced him to give it a try. And so Naaman did exactly what Elisha had commanded and washed 7 times in the Jordan River. Now, sure enough, Naaman was healed just as Elisha had said that he would be. Naaman was so thankful that he wanted to give a gift to Elisha for helping him. I mean, imagine being itchy for a super long time and somebody finally figuring out how to stop that itch. You'd probably want to give them a gift too. And so he returned to Elisha and he said, "Now I know that there is no God anywhere in the whole world except in Israel. So please accept a gift from me." But Elisha said no. Why would he do that? Now, Elisha said no because he didn't want to take a reward for something that God had actually done. And so Naaman kept his money and he headed back home towards Syria. Now you're probably wondering, what about Gehazi, right? I talked about him at the beginning, but I haven't mentioned him since. But don't worry, we're at that part of the story, right? Gehazi was a servant of Elisha. He wasn't necessarily the servant who went out, but he was a servant. So he knew about everything that had happened. And he had seen how Naaman had been healed because of Elisha's help. And so Gehazi said to himself, "My master was too easy on Naaman from Aram. He should have accepted the gift that Naaman brought. I'm going to run after him. I'm going to get something from him, and that's just as sure as the Lord is alive." And so Gehazi ran after Naaman, and eventually he did catch up to him. And Naaman asked Gehazi if everything was all right. And get this, Gehazi actually lied to Naaman. He said that Elisha had sent him to ask for 75 pounds of silver and 2 sets of clothes. Now, Naaman, because he wanted to pay Elisha, was happy to help. So he gave Gehazi the clothes and actually twice the amount of silver that he asked for. Gehazi then took the gifts from Naaman. Remember, he lied about it to get them. And he put them inside Elisha's house. So what do you think happened next? Yep, Elisha found out what Gehazi had done. And so Elisha said, "Gehazi, where have you been?" And Gehazi again lied and said, "I didn't go anywhere." But let's be honest, Elisha probably found all this stuff. And he knew that Gehazi wasn't telling the truth. He knew that Gehazi had taken the gifts from Naaman. And he said that Gehazi would now have the exact same skin disease that Naaman had been healed of. I would be so upset, but I feel like I would have kind of deserved it. And so Gehazi, right, as we see in this story, thought that he could get away with a lie so that he could enjoy silver and fine clothes. And instead, Gehazi ended up with Naaman's skin disease, all because he chose not to tell the truth to Elisha. Now, this story reminds us of something that's really important for our lives today.